Hey, Renter Retires, it's Adam Schroeder here with another episode, joined as usual by Zach Lemaster, the founder and CEO of Rent to Retirement. And we are pleased to be joined by another Adam Whitney. He is the CEO of Seven Figure Flipping. Adam, thanks for joining us today.
Thanks so much for having me on the show, guys.
Absolutely. So we want to start where we usually start with people, and that is, what was the first deal you did in real estate, and what was it about that deal that kept you in this space?
Yeah, the first deal that is probably worth mentioning is actually the first deal I didn't do, which I really fired me up about real estate. I was in the military, active duty Marine, and they sent me up to Michigan to go to school, and I was going to buy my first house. I was young. I wasn't making a lot of money at the time, and I really didn't know what I was doing. This was 2011. This house was a short sale. I didn't know what that meant. And I came this close, literally this close to buying this house for $99,000. And I didn't do it. It fell apart. I couldn't figure out how to get the short sale to close. I had agents that weren't able to help me with that. And then just a couple of years later, it traded for $250,000. And I knew that was really powerful, and that was a way to make a lot of money really fast.
In 2011, right at the kind of that peak time, that would have been the perfect time to buy, right? But we all have those times, Adam, where it's like, hindsight, right? Shoulda, coulda, woulda. But you looked at that experience. I mean, take us to the next step, right? I mean, so you saw that and you're like, oh crap, I missed out. A lot of people would just say, be upset about that. But it sounds like maybe that was like a remotivation for you to like do something, get in the game. Like you saw that missed opportunity, you're like, I'm not going to miss the next one, or what happened next?
Yeah, it's a great question. I had read Rich Dad, Poor Dad before that, like many others, and seeing that made it really tangible to me, like real numbers, a real house I almost bought. And then I got really busy in my career, and I never really came back to it until 2017. And I bought a house in Northern Virginia that I knew I was going to do kind of a standard, like I'll buy it, I'll hold on to it for rental for a little bit, and then I'll sell it. And I know I feel like it will appreciate because this market is great. In the meantime, so I did do that. I bought that house. I did end up selling it and making a couple $100,000 a few years later. In the meantime, I started obsessively learning about real estate. I mean, I probably listened to 1,000 podcasts. I read over 100 books. I was like, I just need to know how to do this faster. And then 2019, I started buying rentals and turnkey. Somebody else was turning them. I was buying them at market value. And I made a whole spreadsheet, Zach, like how many of these do I need to buy to hit my freedom number of cash flow? And I mathed it out. If I buy one, then I'll have this much more money available to me. If I buy two, then it will compound over time. And it was an epiphany for me. I was in the military. I can't really make more money, as you know, Zach. Like there's no way for me to earn more money there. And I was like, gosh, this is going to take me forever. And I fundamentally knew I needed to increase my active income. So I went and I figured out how to find off-market deals at 50% of their value and trade them, fix them up and trade them for tens of thousands of dollars. And if I could do that even just 10 times in a year, I could literally produce hundreds of thousands of dollars. So that's what I did from 2020 to current. Over 400 residential properties, either flipped or wholesaled, or another active exit strategy, which has since allowed me to buy literally $40 million worth of real estate.
So we all know that rentals can slow down this time of year, but that doesn't mean your units have to sit empty. Let me tell you about Avail. It makes finding your next qualified renter super quick and easy. With Avail, you whip up your listing just once, and it gets shared across 20 big rental sites like Realtor.com, Apartments.com, and Zumper. Plus, they've got this awesome new feature called Promoted Listings that gives your listing a boost in exposure, helping it stand out on their partner networks. That means more leads and a better chance of getting your properties rented ASAP. Want to take your rental game to the next level? Avail also offers easy rental applications, TransUnion screening reports, state-specific leases you can sign online, and super secure online rent collection. It's all there. So why wait? Sign up today at avail.co/rent to retirement and start landlording like a pro. How did you have the, the stones to actually do that? Because if you hadn't been in real estate before and now you're saying, I'm going to buy this for 50, I'm going to put money into it and then I'm going to make money. I mean, that's a pretty big leap for someone who's never, gutted a house and redone it or anything like that. What made you feel confident in that?
Yeah, that's a great question. I had learned a lot, but I had no real practical experience. I actually joined a community, got a mentor, I joined the 7-figure flipping community, and I was in a group of 200 other business owners who were doing this. Like some of these guys and gals were doing 1 or 200 of these a year. And at the time I was like, if I could just do one, that would be great. And I looked around and I got into these rooms and I realized these are like super normal people. I mean, I'm just a Marine, but goodness, these are normal people too. I'm fairly certain I'm capable of doing that as well. So I felt more confident being in community and having a blueprint. And I just followed the blueprint. I just did what my mentors told me to do. And it was to the moon for me.
Adam, you're the one of the only guys we haven't had a lot of like home flippers. That's their core business. We've had people that have been successful in real estate and done a lot of different things throughout their career, maybe flipping some houses. But like this is a big part of your active business today and kind of where you built a lot of your wealth. That I know that you flipped houses to build the wealth and then you put it into long-term rentals, to maintain, preserve, and grow your wealth. But I'm interested to hear about, the philosophy behind house flipping and kind of a lot of people, I think, look at that as a high risk and it can be high risk. I know there's ways to mitigate risk. But before we do that, let's actually talk about the power of community, which is what you just talked about, and surrounding yourself with like-minded people to understand like what it takes and to have the support group. I mean, do you think that was essential for your success? I mean, I kind of know, I think we all know the answer to that, but talk about the power of being in communities, because a lot of people are trying to be these lone wolves out there, doing it on their own, and it's just like very challenging.
Yeah. So there's a couple things here. It's community, it's education, it's somebody else's proven blueprint that like, I bought speed. Joining a community allowed me to buy speed. So I didn't have to go learn all these lessons on my own. I could get into the room and people could tell me, hey, do it this way, don't do it that way. And not only that, but on multiple occasions, I was doing something to get in front of sellers, or I was doing something in my rehabs that I sat next to somebody else in this community and they'd give me one tip and it literally would save me thousands of dollars. Like I can give you specific examples where I've saved over 10 grand multiple times just sitting next to somebody in one of these rooms and going, oh my gosh, how are you doing it like that? So you get community. One, you guys know this, being an entrepreneur, being a business owner is a lonely place to be. There are ups and downs and there are challenges, and it's great to be in a room with other people. And then two, the perceived risk versus the actual risk are two different things, right? There is a science behind flipping. There is a science behind turning houses. From any business fundamentally that's trading something, whether it's selling a piece of furniture from China on Amazon or you're flipping a house, you're buying something at a price that makes sense and selling it at a higher price based on what the market is telling you to sell. So there's a little bit of science behind that. And if you can master those things and have an efficient, systematic business, you can do it at scale. And it's not as complicated, I believe, as people think it is.
Looking to add passive income to your financial strategy? Connect Invest's short notes make it easy to earn steady returns without the hassle of traditional real estate investing. With short notes, you can start with as little as $500 and earn annualized returns of up to 9% on flexible terms, 6, 12, or 24 months. Your investment supports a diverse range of real estate projects across the U.S., all without the stress of property management. It's real estate investing simplified and within your reach. Ready to start earning passive income? Visit connectinvest.com/RTR today. Yeah, I love that, when you're in the community, they can teach you how to make money, but they can also teach you how to not lose your shirt. So, somebody teaching you how not to lose 10 grand is the same as just keeping it in your pocket there. So what were some of the key things, like just in terms of the community? Like, how did that help you build your your confidence, if you don't mind me saying? So was it just kind of learning from them? Was it something that, really happened, that you heard a little piece of advice that you were like, oh man, this is really the mindset that I need to have that isn't there, kind of the evolution of your mindset going into it?
Yeah, well, first off, I was completely dedicated to winning. Like when I spent money, like it wasn't cheap. I literally spent over $10,000 to join a community. It wasn't cheap, so I was very committed to okay, like this is the blueprint, this is the playbook. I'm going to follow it to a T. My journey was I got into the community, I raced through all their information, like here's A to Z, here's how you do this. And then I took advantage of the coaches. So I would literally race myself to a point doing the thing that they told me to do. I would get on a coaching call with a coach and I would say, I did this. What's next? They're like, oh my gosh, you're like going fast. Okay, here's what you do next. And then I would do the next thing that they told me to do. And then I would do the next thing that they told me to do. And what they told me not to do in the beginning was don't try to do everything A to Z. Get to one choke point and then work through that, solve that problem, then work to the next choke point. If you spend all this time focusing on Z when you haven't even done A, you're going to turn your wheels and waste a bunch of time. So I just felt very blessed and fortunate. Like, I took the exact blueprint. I went through their modules. I got on with their coaches. Coaches told me, do this, not that. I did it. I'd come back to them. They'd say, okay, now do this. And I literally joined their community October of 2020 and started implementing. It took me about 5 months. I closed my first deal. I made $13,500, which is a great story in and of itself. It was kind of comical how that ended up happening. And then I knocked down over the next 6 weeks. I knocked out 9 more deals, made another $100,000. Those my first deals were all wholesale deals. And then once I kind of figured that out, I started hiring a team, which they helped me with, and putting the appropriate infrastructure, meeting cadence, all those types of business things in place.
Yeah, it's all about the acquisition, right? That's a big part of having the deal flow, and wholesaling or flipping are kind of different exit strategies. You can probably do both, depending on the deal, but it's all about getting the deal in the door. Yeah, the community is so powerful. I mean, just we belabor the point all the time, but just surrounding yourself with like-minded people. I think for you, Adam, you realize like, hey, there's also a confidence thing. These are normal people doing it. And also community is there to like support each other, right? And there's some motivation there and mentorship available. So that's so huge. I think a lot of times people look at paying for education, and this is interesting for me to reflect on sometimes because I also, bought courses in the beginning and communities, and they were actually much more expensive than that. But for me, it was also like a make or break point. Like, hey, I'm going to put my money where my mouth is because I just spent a lot of money on this, and they're like, I better make it back or else, right? Or else my wife would.
So someone in the other room is going to have words.
Yeah. So it's like, it's a motivating factor too. I think that's something that, people in our message made is like, let's use that as a motivating factor. But I think about that all the time because I spent $400,000 to go to professional school to have a degree, but I still have, but I don't use today, I guess, on a volunteer basis. But I think some people are, when you compare it to like college and the time and all these things, it's like, you got to invest in yourself to start with. And that's money that you will actually will save you time, like you said, and it's a significant amount of money with mistakes later. So it's all about just getting access to the right people. Flipping is, I think, the sexy side of real estate to some degree that a lot of people are interested in, especially if they watch HGTV. It's a great way to earn a lot of money in real estate. And of course, we focus on the wealth growth and preservation side, but talk to us about for flipping, was it just what you said in the military that you didn't make, there was no other way to make more money? So that was a way for you to just get in there and make more money and hustle? Or what was it about starting with flipping and wholesaling that was interesting to you, Adam?
Yeah, here's what I really liked, Zach, is I could literally go from a contract to money in my bank in 21 days. So I could sign up a house, like a seller, somebody who owns a property that wants to sell it at a discount to us. And believe me, there are literally thousands of people doing this every day.
Just to define wholesaling real quick for people that are
okay. So wholesaling is you go direct to a seller, a homeowner who might have a problem, like they're in foreclosure, they have a tax delinquency, and you say, I'll buy your house and solve that problem. Of course, you're buying it at a deep discount. They say, great, I like that. You sign the contract. Wholesaling, you're not selling a house, you're selling the contract. So let's say I sign that person up for $100,000. Like they're willing to sell their house to me for 100 grand. If the house is fixed up, it's worth 300 grand and it needs maybe 50 or 60 grand worth of work. Instead of fixing it up myself, I just come to you, Zach, and I go, Zach, I'll sell you this contract to buy this house for 120,000. So I just make a $20,000 spread. You say, okay, you sign the contract, you close on the house and flip it, and I just make money in the middle.
I love it. So continue on with, what you're saying about the, why wholesaling and why real estate? Is it anything, or why flipping? Is it anything beyond just like it's quick turnaround and kind of engaged and active?
Well, the fundamental problem that I was solving. So I wanted to, I do flipping or wholesaling to feed my rental addiction. Right?
Love that.
Like
Love that.
you want to build wealth. You build wealth through buying assets. You want to make a lot of money. You got to do that actively, either through a business, but we love real estate. So the best way to make active money in real estate is flipping houses, wholesaling houses. Like that is a very active, quick turn business that you can bring big dollar amounts into your bank account like very quickly. Like my second, after my first 6 months, over the next 12 months, we did over $1 million of gross profits, not revenue, gross profits in our business. So
Awesome.
It was a way to bring that cash in really quickly, which then allows you, because remember, my first goal was I was trying to figure out how I could buy enough of these turnkey rentals to build the wealth that I wanted to build. And I just couldn't get enough cash because I was buying them at market value. And I couldn't get it quite figured out on how I could do this faster. And honestly, I just needed more capital. And this was my way to get more capital. And of course, it's in the real estate industry. If you're listening to this podcast, you obviously like real estate, rent to retirement. This is, all about properties. I love real estate because it's a really, really, it's the most powerful wealth building asset class in the world. The United States real estate market is, I don't think you can really argue that.
Yeah. So how did you, first off, how did you decide? I want to go back to the community for just a second before we go in there. How did you decide that was the right community for you? Because there's a lot of, we've talked a little bit about, community is important, but the wrong community is not going to help you. So how did you figure out this is the community for me? Because I'm sure there are, plenty of communities out there who do wholesaling, who do flipping and try to teach all those things. So how do you know which one was right?
Yeah, I have two acid tests for something like this. The first one, are there people in there who are actively doing it, or are they where I want to be? Are they doing what I want to do? The second acid test for this is, are the core values of that community and those people aligned with my core values? And for me, it was. This is an abundant community. There's no like secrets. People are sharing the things that aren't working real time. More mature community. You have real business owners in there. It's not like a hustle or like a bro type thing. It's a very business oriented community. People building real businesses out of this activity.
I love that. That's a perfect test. And just to go back on the wealth building side, and I know we were talking about this with your community, Adam, but it's like, yeah, a light bulb went off for me when it's like you earn active income, real estate, however you're doing it, business, whatever, put it into buy and hold to create that ongoing wealth. And then like you maximize the tax benefits, right? And that's like the way to keep the majority of or possibly all of your earned income. Like once you multiply all this and then add leverage in there, it's just like skyrockets, right? Yeah, nothing else that compares. And I think we can agree on that. You were someone who you entered your, a thick-skulled Marine, you started flipping houses, you were just immensely determined, had great success in a short period of time, and also in a relatively short period of time, went to business owner. Talk to us about, and now you're continuing to help other people and build this community. I want to talk about like specifically what seven-figure flipping does, but talk to us about that transition point of, all right, now you're in it, you're understanding, you're rocking and rolling, and then the period of time until like business owner, right? Like what happened in between there?
Yeah, so obviously I joined that community. I'm a member of that community, and I really just fell in love with what they represented, and I learned a ton. I mean, I literally went from not like I had a normal W-2 job to having a business doing over $1 million a year in gross profits, and I learned a ton of business lessons, and I continue to refine those processes. In 2023, I bought equity. I was doing well, and I bought equity in the company, and in seven-figure flipping. When I say the company, I mean seven-figure flipping as an owner. And the reason I did that was because I believe so deeply in what they were doing. I had such great success, and I see so many others have such great success in the community. I believed in it. So I jumped in that sense. I was still active duty. I did all this still while being active duty. And then as soon as I retired, an opportunity opened just for me to come in and lead the company. And honestly, I'd been building and developing my own skills as a business leader, which is a little different than what we do in the military, right? Because in the military, the money doesn't count as much as it does in business, right? We're doing something a little different there. The leadership's the same from a people perspective, but the business mechanics are things that I learned over time. And I was ready by the time I retired because I had gotten enough experience, certainly not perfect. And I was asked by the board if I would be the CEO of the company. They believed in me, and they felt like since I was still so active in real estate and I love the community so much and I was pouring into so many people, that I was the right person to lead the community in the near future. So I said yes to that as I'm getting out of the military, going, what am I going to do with all this extra time? Of course, I have businesses. I have my real estate business. You see, I have that here. I'm still doing that actively. I own a title company here. But I've built really great systems and people around me for those things. And I get to spend a lot of time in our community now.
Yeah, when you see people in your community doing the flips, you mentioned the wholesaling. If they're not doing the wholesaling, if there are people listening who are interested in doing flips but don't want to do the wholesale part, how do you find reliable wholesalers? Because there's a lot of wholesalers out there. I mean, there's a ton, but not all of them are what you would call ethical or good at what they do. So how do you make sure, and how do you help your people find the right people to work with?
That's a really, really good question. I built a whole system around this actually. This is a great way to find houses. If you want to buy a house to flip or even burr or whatever it may be, wholesalers are this like crazy underground people who go out and find these deals and sign them up at a deep discount. It is so easy to get them to send those deals to you. I'm going to tell you exactly how. Make an email that says Adam buys area I buy in at gmail.com. It's one email, different than your normal email. Go into every local Facebook group to you. Search real estate location wholesaler, real estate location cash buyer, real estate location investor, real estate location flipper. Search every Facebook group local in your area. Join all of those Facebook groups and go into that group and post this. Say, my name is Zach. I'm a local cash buyer. I'd like to buy a couple houses this month from wholesalers. I'm using hard money or I'm using cash, however you're funding your deals, and say, please send all your deals to me and put your email address in there. Do that 3 times a week for the next 4 weeks. You'll have thousands of deals in your inbox. So that's part 1. Fill up your inbox with tons of off-market deals. Part 2 is this. It's not finding good wholesalers, that there's a preconceived notion there. Wholesalers are a tool for you to find deals. Change your mindset. Just look at the deals independently. Do not worry about what they're putting in their marketing, what numbers they're asking for. They're just bringing deals to you that are opportunities. You underwrite them based on your numbers, your evaluation of the property, and you should always make offers regardless of what they're asking. Hey, Zach, I could pay you $100,000 for this. I know it's not what you're asking, but if something doesn't work out for you, I'd love to be the best option for you. And the more you do that, the more opportunities you will get. Because what you guys, many people don't know, is a wholesaler sends a deal out, only 40% of wholesaler deals close nationwide. So 60% of those deals that get sent out do not even close. And sometimes they don't close because nobody made an offer on them. So that wholesaler might have it for too high of a price. And because you made an offer and they feel confident they can go back and renegotiate to the price and then bring you the deal to be their confirmed buyer.
That's huge. I love that because one, you're evaluating, you're understanding how to underwrite real estate, right? And it's about the deal. Every deal likely makes sense at the right price point, or if you have like a unique advantage or competitive advantage for that deal, like, you know, so and offer on every single deal. I love that too, right? It's a numbers game, and you never know, right? They may put the pressure on the wholesaler to go back and negotiate with the seller, like you said. This is a way that wholesaling is a way that I also use to build capital. I didn't do it super extensively, but this was kind of my first few deals. And this was back in the day when we had bandit signs, and, you know,
Yeah.
I was stationed in Grand Forks, which was like 20 miles away from the town. And so driving on Highway 2 in North Dakota, you would see a bunch of little bandit signs that were there for about 2 days, and then the wind or the snow would take them out. But I remember there was this one small, and I actually wholesaled more like farmland and things than I did anything else. But there's this one deal where it was near Detroit Lakes, and it was infested with squirrels and all these things. And it was just, the city was going to condemn it. And the seller is like, she was like 90, she was in a care home, she just wanted to be done with it, she was checking out. And we put under contract for $50,000, and then we went in and inspected and got all these quotes on like and basically people were like, you just got to tear it down, completely tear it down. So we had already lined up a seller, buyer on the back end for that, for like a $10,000 fee or whatever. But still, we're like, oh man, I just don't know if we're going to be able to pull this one off. We renegotiated with the seller, and she just ended up taking $10,000. She actually told us, like, just I'll take $10,000, get off her table. We still had the buyer, so we were able to like turn a $10,000 profit into $50,000 profit. Just talking with the seller and kind of figuring out. But that just brought me back to that, Adam. So I'm sorry.
That's great, man.
But
that's great.
Yeah. So yeah, always make offers on those deals, right? And you wouldn't know that stuff and learn that stuff unless you're around the community. Those tools can be so successful. I just want to revisit something to be sure that I heard this from you correctly. And if I think that real estate is so powerful. So did you say that you were still active duty and you had your side hustle, which is really a full business at this point, while being active duty, that you were grossing $1 million a year?
That's right. Yep.
That is mind blowing, right? Because that is your full time job is active duty military, and within a couple of years or less or whatever it was, like you were you had a 7-figure business at that point within a short period of time. I think that's just astonishing. Adam, kind of as we kind of bring this full circle here, what is 7-figure flipping? I know you've talked a lot about it, and it sounds like a community and coaching program, but let's just like basically, if you give us just a couple minute elevator pitch on it, like what is a community?
Yeah, 7-figure flipping is a community for real estate investors nationwide who are primarily flippers and wholesalers. And in the community, it is just comprised of like some of the best business owners I've ever been around. So these are people that are in the community doing, 50, 100 flips or wholesale deals a year. And they're all using the frameworks and the business processes and all the nuance of the business that most of us have learned in this community. So it's a collection of the best investors in the United States who believe in abundance. They're high quality, high core value people. And the reason that they come into the community is just because they can get around other people and they're making their businesses more efficient. And we have 2 communities, by the way. So 7-figure flipping is comprised of 7-figure runway and 7-figure altitude. 7-figure runway is for people who were like me at the time. I didn't have a business yet. I was trying to do a deal or 2 deals, and I needed to build the fundamentals, the baseline. So I joined the 7-figure runway community, which basically helped me stand up and get crawling and then walking, and then I was running in a short time. Once I had a business that was consistently doing deals and producing revenue, then I was able to go into the 7-figure altitude community, which is the next community up where all the bigger players are. So we serve house flippers who are just learning and maybe they've done a deal or 2 deals or 3 deals, and they really want to get that into a consistent business. And then we have a lot of the biggest house flippers in the United States in our 7-figure altitude community. And we have, of course, the community, we have coaching, we have courses, but we get together every single quarter. Like we're going to be in Nashville in January. We're going to be in Cancun in April as a community. We'll be in Park City later in the year. So we run on quarters just like every business does. We get our businesses all together every single quarter, and we work on our businesses.
Now, is this just for people who are flipping in their own market, or do y'all teach flipping in outside markets, or what do you need to be doing there?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have both. We have people who flip in their backyard. I've actually personally never seen a single property I've purchased, and we've done hundreds. We treat it like a business. The point is, like, if I have it built out as a business where it's numbers based and it's just data and facts, that I'm not emotionally attached to anything. So I don't need to be there. We have systems for doing it all virtually. That's what I personally do. Some people are right in their backyard doing it, and that works well for them. They enjoy that. But yeah, you can do it either way. The point is you have a business system and infrastructure put together where I could go anywhere in the country today and start this business and do $1 million in 12 months.
That is significantly powerful. And Adam, we didn't mention this, but there's probably a lot of deals being done within the community, right? That's also a power of the community. You have your wholesalers, or you have, look, there's your buyers, right? So there's that collaboration, finding private money, hard money lenders. Like I just imagine that there's a lot of the deals being done, and that's also the power of the community. But kind of as we close up here, Adam, I mean, what advice would you have for someone that's been interested in or attracted to house flipping, that sees it as a way to maybe earn extra income that they can then translate into rentals, or they're just interested to get started beyond just like surround yourself with people? Like give us some actionable advice for someone that's wanting to get into the wholesaler flipping game.
Yeah, it's all about getting an asset at a great price. So it's all about finding good deals. Like the thing that Adam mentioned already once is, if you want to flip a house, do the exact thing I said earlier on the podcast. Get on all the wholesalers lists and start to see all of the off-market deals come to you. Get accustomed to what it looks like, what it feels like, so that you can then sharpen your skill to underwrite and evaluate it and come up with an offer. Think about this, man. Like the property fixed up in most of these cases, say, is $300,000 or $400,000. Say it's $400,000, and these guys are sending these deals out at $200,000. You might get that deal for $150,000, knowing that if I put some amount of money in it, I could sell it for $400,000. Like, that is incredibly powerful. So finding good deals in real estate is how you win. I don't care what asset class you're in. You have to get things at a price that makes sense. So get on these wholesalers lists, join those local Facebook groups, put your email out there. Make sure it's only one email, because you'll get a lot of deals. Not your personal email. Make a new one and start to see these deals come through, and you'll be shocked. Like if this is all foreign to you, you'll be like, I cannot believe there are all, like, how does this even work? That's crazy. This house could be worth $500,000. They're offering it for $225,000.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Adam, thank you so much for joining us today. Again, Adam is the CEO of 7-Figure Flipping. You can find out more about them by heading to the link that's on the screen. If you're watching this on YouTube, or if you're listening to it in your car or somewhere at home, you can find it in the show notes right up at the top. Adam, really appreciate you joining us today and teaching us about something we haven't really talked much about. So for everybody else, if you want to head over to Rent to Retirement and find some assets to buy, whether it's with the money you have now or the money you're making from flipping and wholesaling, you can head over to renttoretirement.com, see our inventory there, some of which you can buy at below market value. So head on over there. And also, as always, if you have any questions you want us to answer in future episodes, or any questions you want to pass us along to the other Adam, you can email them to podcasts@renttoretirement. That's podcasts@renttoretirement.com. Really appreciate the time y'all spent educating yourselves today. Talk to you on the next episode.
Thanks for watching the Rent to Retirement YouTube channel. Check out some of our other videos, like this one, or this one here.